SZA and Kendrick Lamar recently announced that they are going on a joint stadium tour together called the Grand National Tour next year. This is going to be all the rave. I'm actually excited for it. I've seen SZA in concert before. She's incredible. So I know she's going to put on a good show. And also Kendrick, in my opinion, is one of the best hip hop performers out right now. I mean, top three, I would say him, Tyler, the Creator, and Doja Cat. They really give a show. But I know Kendrick is an amazing performer, and people are going to see that when he headlines the Super Bowl halftime show next year. It's going to be a big thing, and it will definitely drive up the sales for this tour. Now, I will say these prices are a bit high. They are high, so I do expect this concert to be top notch. I don't want them to spare no expense and put it on the best production as possible, because if they're going to be charging people these high prices, they need to deliver in every way possible. And I'm sure they will. They probably will, but still, my expectations are super high and I am excited for it. So I'll give y'all my review when I attend. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about some people having an issue with SZA doing this tour with Kendrick because they feel like she is betraying Drake. Now, SZA and Drake have been cool for a very, very long time. In fact, they used to date back in the day, like around 2008, 2009. And at the time, SZA was around 19 and I think Drake was around 22. I bring up their ages because it was believed that SZA was younger than that, like she was underage, but she wasn't. So she had to actually say what her real age was so people wouldn't get anything misconstrued. But she and Drake have always been cool, and Drake has always spoke highly of her. They've done songs together, and Drake even defended her when one of his super fans, DJ Academics, made a comment about SZA's weight.
And by the way, you know who called me too? Drake called me. Drake? When Drake called me, I was like, this is what?
Wait, about SZA?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
To say what?
Drake was like, hey, like, she's a very close friend of his. And it's a very friendly call. It was just like, yo, hey, listen, he was just kind of trying to see like what I thought about it. Cause he's like, I can rock with you too. He said, they were doing the album at the time, and it was just like, like she's affected by things like that. And I guess he was just like, there got to be some middle ground here. These things like emotionally mess her up. She stays away from certain stuff because, yes, your words could matter.
So Drake called up Academics over SZA. So he's always been in her corner. They seem to have a good relationship. And they've collaborated on a few songs too, but now that SZA is, joining forces with Kendrick, some people feel like SZA is betraying Drake. But what some people don't realize is SZA and Kendrick have always been cool too. In fact, they were label mates at one point. They both have affiliations with TDE. They've collaborated multiple times, and obviously their collaborations have generated quite a bit of money for their label. So their work relationship is lucrative, and it's not really surprising to me to see SZA join up with Kendrick. I mean, she got to get to the bag at the end of the day, and her loyalty will be with TDE. But people still feel like she betrayed Drake in the midst of all this. And some people were calling her out on social media. They were even saying that she is a mole. They were accusing her of collecting information from Drake to bring information back to his longtime nemesis, Kendrick Lamar.
I figured out who the mole was. SZA is the mole. Now, we can say it started from the Control verse, but what it really started is with that fucking BET cipher. And who in the background smiling? SZA. Who has a reputation of being a known liar, pathological liar?
SZA.
All of the good ingredients of a mole, she's been there in the mix.
We just seen SZA execute one of the longest, most calculated get-backs in history. Okay, if y'all remember correctly, Drake was the one that was bragging on his mans and dropped SZA's name about the relationship that they had with each other back in the day. She fake forgave him. She got on with him. She pretended to be besties. She was getting features. She was getting brought out on stage. She was getting flued out. She was getting opportunities because of her proximity with Drake. But did that proximity with Drake fuck up her relationship with her work husband Kendrick Lamar or her crew over at TDE? Absolutely not. My girl was a double agent, okay? She was using those lying abilities to collect motherfucking information from Drake, who was an egotistical maniac. So of course he's going to believe that somebody wants to stroke his ego, and that's exactly what SZA did. She was on multiple of his albums. She was collecting a motherfucking bag. She was getting her social cachet off Drake. And then when it was time for those tables to motherfucking turn, she went right back to her work husband Kendrick Lamar and dropped all that motherfucking information. Deontay been saying that SZA was the mole, but when she did that Harper's Bazaar interview with Kendrick Lamar, the first interview he did after the beef, it was like, okay, Deontay, you ate that. Then we look on the album, and two of the biggest tracks on the album, she's also featured on. Okay, Deontay, you ate that. Now she's headlining the tour with Kendrick.
This is funny. Do y'all really think SZA was a double agent this whole time? I don't know. Possibly. Personally, I think SZA is out for herself only. I mean, she's here for the opportunities and the money. That's really it. And even looking at this whole joint tour with Kendrick now, I feel like TDE is basically sending SZA to link up with him so they could get a piece of the pie, because Kendrick is no longer on TDE. He has his own label situation called PG Lang. So at this point, I don't think he needs to do any business with TDE, but Punch is still looking to make a profit off of Kendrick, and he's using SZA to do it. I think it's kind of like a mutually beneficial situation, really, because, you know, Kendrick can benefit from doing a joint stadium tour with SZA. SZA has a huge fan base. A lot of people will come out to see her on top of coming out to see him. And on the flip side, he's actually helping TDE by continuing to do business with their artists. Now, moving on, I want to briefly talk about this mess. Now, the comedian Andrew Schultz, I believe, was under fire for basically saying that he wants to buck break Kendrick Lamar. Yes, you heard correctly. Now, Kendrick did take a shot at Andrew because he made a comment about black women on his podcast, I believe. He made a lot of other weird racial comments, just really uncomfortable. Like, his style of comedy is super inflammatory and borderline racist. But on his show, he made a comment about the black girlfriend effect, which is a trend on TikTok where, you know, black women get praised for elevating their partner's looks and their style. And Andrew used that topic as a way to take cheap shots at black women.
What is the black girlfriend effect? This is
You don't know about this?
Glow up the other culture.
Yeah, so you'll see a guy who's had a black girlfriend, all of a sudden he's got buzz cut, like clean shape up.
They shave their hair because they start losing it. Because they're so stressed being around this black girl complaining about shit all the fucking time. That's why they gotta shave their hair.
Nah, bro, white guys with black girlfriends,
They grow a
step-
beard
they step
because
their dick
there's
up.
more cushion when they get slapped the fuck out of.
Now, Kendrick did indirectly check Andrew on his song Whacked Out Mural, saying, "Don't let no white comedian talk about no black woman. That's law." And I'm glad that Kendrick said that. He didn't call Andrew out by name, but he definitely put him on notice and said, listen, we not rocking with that in our culture. Now, it would have been smart for Andrew not to respond to this, but he did. And he made some very disturbing comments.
Like, first of all, Kendrick's people and the gang affiliate, you know, everybody, his security, they will kill me. They will destroy me. They'll find me in the street. They'll fucking cut me up. They'll shoot me. They'll do whatever. I'm not a tough guy. Y'all do. But just Kendrick, I would make love to him. And there's nothing he could do about it. Just Kendrick Lamar, I would make love to him. And the only thing that he could do is decide if it's consensual or not. That's the only thing he could do. If we're in a cell and we're bored and we done tattooing each other, whatever you do in the cell, and we ran out of board games and we did all the other things, we cleaned everything, and I'm like, man, I might as well f*** you. There's nothing he could physically do to stop that. Like, the only reason he got security is to stop people from having sex with him whenever he wants.
This was so crazy. And I didn't play the full audio, but he kept going on and on. It was just like very disturbing. He's literally joking about R-ing another person, another man. And it goes deeper than that. It has layers racially because, you know, historically, white slave masters used to butt break their black male slaves. So it's weird to hear a white man say that about another black man. And people called him out on it. Meek Mill called him out on it. Ice Cube's son O'Shea Jackson called him out on it. Also, the radio DJ Peter Rosenberg called him out too, but he more so was defending Kendrick against the claims that he doesn't care about uplifting the culture and uplifting black women. So people are not here for Andrew's comments. And honestly, I would like for his business partner, Charlemagne the God, to really speak up about this, because Charlemagne is definitely the reason why some people in the black community know Andrew, because he did a whole podcast with him and made him feel comfortable to speak on black culture and black music. And he really doesn't have an authority to speak on those things because he's not a part of it, nor is he knowledgeable about it, nor does he respect it. So I do think Charlemagne should check his buddy, but I don't know if Charlemagne's words are going to be effective enough. But when Kendrick responds to Andrew, it's going to give him the reality check he needs. And he probably is going to have to beef up his security when he comes to LA. Anyway, tell me what y'all think about this video down below.